And welcome to the Karmic Nerd Podcast. My name is James Drake, and I am the kind of ringleader here. We also have here two special co-hosts who are going to be joining us for all the Karmic Podcast fun that we're going to be having from this point forward. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Seth Penn.
Hi, my name is Stephen Lobis.
All right, so Steph. Wow, this is going to start off really great. I'm already, you know what? Screw this. There's three things that you need to know about the Karmic Nerd Podcast. And we could sit and tell you what we're going to be, but it's probably going to be a whole lot easier if we tell you what we're not going to be. First thing we're not going to be worried about screwing up. The second thing we're not going to be worried about is we're not going to be fucking swearing. Actually, we will be fucking swearing a lot.
I might swear once or twice.
We might actually have a few cuss words come out of our mouth. So if you're of a delicate nature or you are having any intent or desire to sue me at all for this, please go ahead and leave now. This was your dual notice. The only notice you'll get for this. Okay, we're done with that fucking shit. Number three, the third thing we're not going to be is we're not going to be too serious. We're going to talk about serious subjects from time to time. We'll occasionally do those things. We're not always going to be talking necessarily about your favorite Dungeons and Dragons characters or die rolls or your favorite video games. Sometimes we may wade into political topics or we may talk about social issues. We're here to talk about the well-rounded nerd. So I'm going to go ahead and cede the mic here for a second over to Seth. I'd like him to go ahead and introduce himself a little bit so we get everyone to learn who we are.
Hello, my name is Seth Penn. I fancy myself an illustrator and the Vice President and Creative Director of Rome Walker Publishing Group. I love comic books and movies and playing video games and all that cool stuff. Yeah, I don't know, that's some basic information. You don't learn about me and who I am and the things I like to do,
as it goes along. Yeah.
So.
Typically, Seth is not this loquacious. Sometimes he'll just decide to emote his feelings. So this whole thing is going to be kind of an experiment for him. He's going to have to learn how to talk to himself out loud. So
it makes me sound like some sort of lab rat.
Well, you kind of are.
I was thinking about in the wild. We're going to see how he does, when he has to deal with his emotions, like a person.
Like a person. Yeah, he's a person, Seth. That's what you are.
I am. Well, as far as I'm aware.
There's fewer electric traps in life.
Stephen.
I am Stephen John Lobis. I fancy myself a fanboy, honestly, overall. I got to meet James Drake outside of his whole deal coming up with books in the Rome Walker Publishing Group, and I get to sit back and kind of watch the stories unfold. I also like to play video games and pull the occasional tournament with Seth every now and again, throwing the sticks back and forth in different games. Throw them sticks. And I also get the honor through James Drake to help with maybe possible future games that Rome Walker decides to develop and throw endeavors into different board games, card games, etc.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I forgot the fourth thing we're not going to be. This whole show might be just lists of things we're not going to be. We're not typically going to be an hour-long conversation or advertisement for Rome Walker Publishing Group. Though it's undeniable that most of the co-hosts on here will be involved with the company in some way, shape, or form. A lot of our guests will be involved with us in some way, shape, or form. But we're going to talk about things outside of that. We may bring up our topics and may bring up what we do in the thread of conversation. But the most important thing to realize is that we're open to just about any kind of topic. So if you're here only for us, great. Listen, you'll hear about us from time to time. If you're here and you don't know who we are, even better. Welcome to the show. So we're gonna talk a little bit more about some various topics. I think what we're going to do is first we'll introduce the three different topics that we're going to kind of basically talk about, and then we'll go back and we'll revisit those topics, and so you know what's coming up in the show. My first point is I'm going to be talking a lot about today is the idea of crowdfunding and how it applies in today's world in business and strangely into the personal social matters of this time. So, Seth, what are you going to talk about today?
We'll be talking about the Inktober initiative because, well, it's October 1st. And it's just a pretty neat, cool thing that some dude started. So we're going to just kind of chat about that and let people know if they have not already been told.
All right, Inktober. And you, Stephen, what's on your mind and the agenda for today?
I don't have too many pressing matters. As of late, I've been just going through different forms of media and stories and taking in knowledge. And I think I'm going to talk about maybe some of those things, especially my most recent endeavor of reading the first 3 volumes of East of West, which was amazing. But we can get into that later, of course.
East of West. Well, I'm looking forward to that because I've been wanting to sink my teeth into that particular comic, and I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I'm looking forward to it. Seth's been talking about it for a while too, so I'm sure he'll have some things to share on that.
Many more, of course.
All right. Well, after we get done with the Karmic Nerd Podcast, I got to give a shout out to our friends who are going to be playing tonight down at the Waiting Room in Omaha, Nebraska. Virgin Mary Pistol Grip.
That's right.
That's right. They're kind of like an anthem theme band for some of what we do around here, and so we're going to get to go watch them live tonight after the show. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be really exciting. Looking forward to seeing Jails and everybody else. So let's talk about our subjects. I mentioned I want to talk about crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding. Kickstarter or different forms, if you will.
Right, and like GoFundMe and even Patreon and all those. I guess the thing is that it's hit me in the last couple of months how crowdfunding seems to be kind of a go-to method for independent and small presses to publish their work. And I get asked all the time, hey, you guys, you're putting out a new book or you're putting out a new game or something, do you guys have a Kickstarter going for it? And I'm like, no, I don't. I guess with how common it is out there for people to be doing crowdfunding, I guess the thing I wanted to open the discussion is, what do you guys think about it? I mean, there's a part of me that feels like that crowdfunding gets abused in ways that, I don't know, maybe perhaps puts too much of the onus of the success or failure of art in the hands of individuals that might have nothing to do with it, as well as profit from it if it does become successful. So I have some questions about how you guys feel about that. The other thing I want to talk about with crowdfunding is, are there good applications for crowdfunding? Is there a place where crowdfunding resides best in? And on any of our topics we talk about, or any of the things we talk about on our show, what I really would like to do is I'd like to hope that people comment on the YouTube link or comment during the show when we have live shows and interaction with the listeners. But I would love to hear what other people's thoughts are on this. I'd love to have a discussion on this. So both here and as well as on our Facebook page, fan page that we have, we'll have links for discussions of the various topics that we're going to be discussing in the show. So feel free to visit, check it out. It should be under Karmic Nerd Podcast on Facebook. So, Seth, Stephen, what do you guys think about crowdfunding? What are your thoughts as far as how it is used today as opposed to how it was originally conceived?
Well, I think, like anything, it has an intent or had an intended purpose. And, it was used, or it is used for it. It was used for it. But in talking with you, there's a lot of people that can seem to be lazy with it, or use it, or seem to take advantage of it. I think it has its ups and downs, or its pluses and negatives. But yeah, I think it's just how people use it. It's not, maybe it could be policed better. Maybe it could have, better structure or whatnot. You could go back and forth about it. But I think ultimately it's really about how people use it, and I don't know.
Well, when we were talking earlier, I mentioned Patreon to you. I think that's how you say it. I don't even know. I don't care really, but I don't know how to say it. But I mentioned that you didn't even know about being an independent artist. Kind of a guy that's brought yourself along. I found it interesting. You didn't even know about this.
Yeah,
it's like a thing. What do you think about that? What do you think? I mean, would you ever do something like that?
It's actually. I mean, when you had mentioned it, I thought about that very instance. If I'd independently heard about it, and I didn't necessarily have the things going on that I do, would that be something? Even if I did, would that be something I'd be interested in? It? I don't know. I mean, maybe. I think it's foolish not to consider, an avenue in which, your art can help your career, or just, help you pay bills. But I don't know. It did kind of seem, I don't know, like it was.
Well, like you could probably see the point where, like, if you're literally the starving artist, where it could be advantageous to have, a couple dollars trickle in a month that kind of, cover your needs. But
I guess it's something that seems inviting and seems like a good idea, but it can only get you so far. And really, just there's better things out there. There's better ways to do it, and maybe it may require a little bit more legwork, or just a little bit more work in general, but it'll be more worth it.
Right. I
have a better payoff.
What do you think, Steven?
Overall, I think these sites are, from what I've seen them being used for, I feel like they're made for a different purpose than creating art. I think they'd be more for developing gadgets. I've seen like golf launchers, things like that coming out of these sites, and these are people who have come up with them, created the device already, and then say, fund me so I can have enough money to make more of these. You have seen it already, and I will send it to you. Those sort of things, and get them developing to a point where they can start putting those in mass production. In an art-wise form, though, it becomes more of a battle of, look at me, this is my life story, I'm going to give you this amazing art, kickstart this book for me, or these different things that I might create in the future for you. Right. But you're begging for it, essentially, at that point. Essentially,
there's a clear difference between saying, hey, look at this whole, I don't know, water gun that I invented. I have a prototype, I just need the money so I can make a whole bunch of you guys can play with them.
Right.
As opposed to, hey, so I'm writing this book, and I don't really want to work at a job, so if you could, pay me money, if you could, give me money, I will write this book, and then I will, sell you the book.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because it wasn't long ago, a couple of weeks ago, where there was the GoFundMe that was kind of going around, where it was somebody who, was basically working a job and had essentially put out like 9 novels in the last 5 years, and just still can't make ends meet, and needs $3,000 a month to be able to live her lifestyle. I think that's the dividing line for me, is that we're not here to, the public shouldn't be funding lifestyles. It's okay if it's funding a product or a unique thing that it's not going to get out into the world any other way. But I've published books for nearly nothing. It doesn't cost anything to work a job, write a book, and then put it out on Amazon. It doesn't cost anything.
Right.
What costs something is sitting on your ass doing nothing in between your stories. That costs money.
If you want people to fund your life, have them buy your book. Have them buy what you produce.
Right. And and that's, I guess that's the thing for me, is like, when people ask us, hey, that's great, do you have a Kickstarter? Like, when I first started Realm Walker Publishing Group, the first book, I was telling people about it, and they're like, wow, do you have a Kickstarter? Because, I would back that. I'd totally go for that. I'd support you, no problem. Where's your Kickstarter at? I'm like, I don't have one. And they're like, oh, well, how are you going to get money? Well, you buy the book. I mean, you actually go online right now and you can actually buy the book. And guess what will happen when the book comes out? You'll get the book. You know, and then like, well, you don't have any trinkets or swag? Well, maybe I might have trinkets or swag.
That's an entire extra step.
I might actually give you some trinkets and swag, but I don't know what those trinkets or swag are going to be because I'm busy writing my book that you're buying, the book, that is. And when I'm releasing the book, I'm going to be concentrated on releasing the book, not designing cool swag to go along with the book. Because the book should be good enough.
Right.
If I'm doing my job and I deserve your money, the book should be good enough. And if it's not good enough, in my opinion, don't buy the book. Buy something else. And I shouldn't be asking you to fund me so that I don't have to work at Applebee's for shit wages just to be able to make a book. You know, and honestly, all that what the shit job that Applebee's is doing is paying for my shit house, my shit food, and my shit beer. You know, that's what it's paying for while I make my book. So at any time I'm sitting there and I hear people go, well, I need $3,000 for living expenses while I write my first book, I kind of go, well, I know what I would have spent that $3,000 on, and I guarantee you, you're not getting that money from me for that purpose. You know, write your book, work your job, do your thing, and sell your stuff. And that's just my personal opinion. But with that being said, I've actually seen genuine instances where crowdfunding actually is a worthwhile endeavor.
Right.
The perfect example, in my opinion, for that is Unfettered, which was the short story anthology put together a few years ago for Sean Speakman, and he was diagnosed with cancer, and this effort was organized to bring together some amazing artists, Brandon Sanderson, Terry Brooks, and many other individuals to write short stories for this project, and then sell the book, and then the proceeds from the book would go to benefit Sean's recovery efforts and his health, hospital bills. The thing that was amazing about it for me was that you have these collective talents coming together that people are going to want to read. It is a great idea. Of course, in that particular situation, having a crowdfunding to cover the costs of paying the authors, because they're taking professional time to do this,
right, and
production costs, and to make sure it's the highest production level possible. Of course, that is a valuable use of that money. To me, that's me. I'm giving that money for a charitable cause, just like I would be giving it to the Red Cross or to American Cancer Society or whomever. In doing that effort, I'm actually putting that money towards something that's going to benefit somebody else, in a charitable fashion. And that's always what crowdfunding feels like to me. Is even if I'm giving it to some guy to create his avant-garde dog shit piece of metal, put together. Yeah, I mean, either way, I still feel like I'm being charitable and I'm funding that. And yet, all these crowdfunding places and the individuals that put their stuff out there, in my opinion, they downplay that whole aspect, that what you're really doing is you're donating to a cause. You're donating to the cause of building this book or making this, making this product or, making this water gun. And essentially, you're saying, I want that.
Right.
I want that item. Like in the case of a gun, water gun or water balloon thing. In the case of a gun.
In the case of a gun. No, not a real gun.
But in the case of like some of these gadgets that you're talking about, right. Go fund me.
I need $3,000 to finish these guns, you guys. Send it to me.
Send it to my address is Damascus, Syria. I promise I won't use it for bad things. Anyway, the idea is that I'm not going to get that item any other way. There's a million books out there. There's a million movies out there. There's a million other things out there. So I think artful endeavors, there's lots of other ways you can consume material. Maybe not that one particular one. But if you want to help people, if you want to help artists, buy their shit. Right? I mean,
it's the power of the consumer, right?
Right. Yeah. Don't wait for their Kickstarter to come out. Go out there and buy their books. Buy 10 of them and hand them out to people in the street, whatever. Do that, because as you do that, you put the money directly into their pockets. You put them, you increase their rankings on websites and Amazon or whatever. You create opportunities for them to look successful beyond a Kickstarter. Because the problem with Kickstarter is once that thing is successful, it launches, everyone gets really excited, then they wait 8 months for it to come out. Then it comes out, and it just, I feel like it dents the purpose of what the book is, or what the art is, and that is to celebrate the artist's talent. And instead, we're celebrating how much money we can raise for it. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Right.
That's all I gotta say about that. That was my Forrest Gump imitation.
Yes.
In case you didn't know.
Just in case you didn't catch on.
Right.
You know, because it was so glaringly obvious, so I don't know.
He's an amazing impersonator. You should hear his Kevin Spacey.
My Kevin Spacey sounds just like me. Okay, so Seth, you wanted to talk about Inktober. I have to be honest with you, Seth. I have no idea what Inktober is, and I think that I'm going to get slayed for that.
It's no, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I found out about it, you know, really like a year and a half ago. And it was all because I just kind of really started to scour the internet for cool artists and whatnot. Then I could, you know, just have reference material, learn from and whatnot. And I stumbled upon this one artist, Jake Parker, who's done comics and who's, I think right now he's a freelance artist, but he's just done a whole bunch of stuff. And I believe in 2009 he started this Inktober initiative. And what it is, it's a really basic thing. It's just 31 days, 31 drawings. Every single day of October, you draw an ink drawing. You can obviously draw it out with graphite or whatnot beforehand, but it's just kind of this push to motivate oneself to grow and get better at drawing and inking and just learning, you know, how to ink. And he has ink on his website, Mr. Jake Parker or something like that.com. Well, not.
Are you doing this? Are you going to be doing this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And it's just like a challenge to artists, you know, so you just draw and you ink and then you post on social media of some sort, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anything like that. Hashtag Inktober. So that's, you know, all collected and whatnot. And it's just kind of just a way for, you know, artists to showcase what they're doing, how they're doing it, and, you know, for everyone to kind of learn. It's just, you know, a really cool thing to be a part of. It's, you know, it's something that, you know, you don't have to fill out any forms, you don't have to know the right people. You just, you know, as long as you have an internet connection and can, you know, draw.
Steven, don't drop the pizza.
Or, you know, and you just, you know, you ink it up, you take a picture of it, you post it on there, and it's just, I don't know, it's a really cool thing that he came up with. It's just a really cool initiative to get art out there and get people inspired to do art.
So it's kind of almost like a NaNoWriMo for artists, except for it's in October.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And one thing that's cool about it, too, is since it's in October, you can get a lot of artists that go with a macabre and horror motif, you know, and I'm a sucker for that kind of deal. So
It's always the best art is when there's blood involved.
oh, yeah.
Even if it's so gratuitous, they didn't let me put in one of the advertising blocks I was trying to get for Young Gods, which, by the way, is one of our books. I noticed. Young Gods, I was trying to put an ad for it, and it got denied for an ad because it had too much blood and gore on the front.
Wow.
Now, those of you who have not seen the cover for Young Gods, I mean, basically it's a couple bloody handprints, footprints, that kind of thing. There really isn't any gore or blood, but I was shocked.
It is bloody, but I mean
not so much. There's a little dripping blood here and there.
I suppose.
Okay, well, I mean,
Not
seriously,
enough to,
I've seen worse, you know, on TV, or like I've seen far worse on other covers.
You could get a paper cut on the cover of that book and have more blood on the cover.
Right. It just there you go. There you go, and that's where I'm. That's why I'm kind of like, well, I don't really know like why that would be rejected. It was so.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the same time, censorship never really makes sense. Anyway.
So, as far as like Inktober is concerned, then is this has this been a thing that's where they have like places that show off the art or anything?
Well, as long as you hashtag it, you can find it on the internet and whatnot. A lot of what, in a sense, it's such an independent deal. There's a lot of artists that do participate. What they will do is they'll have kind of a collection of the Inktober drawings that they did and release that as a little art book of some sort.
I just had an idea. I think that we have enough artists in RPG, as well as yourself, that might be interested in doing this. Maybe perhaps we could have an Inktober page on our website.
Oh, for sure.
And we could present that.
And one thing too is it's not. Don't be discouraged if you can't do it every single day or whatnot. It kind of just says if you can do that half marathon or if you can do the 5K, every once in a while, as long as throughout the month of October, just kind of challenge yourself.
Yep.
To get out there and just draw a little bit.
It's very similar, and that's almost exactly what they say in NaNoWriMo, is that don't worry about hitting every goal every day, because that will just get you to quit. Be more concerned about being cognizant that you're actually making this effort.
Right.
It's about creating habits, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely gets artists into a mode where they can go out and get practice on things that they probably wouldn't have otherwise.
Right.
And this is actually a really great event. I like going on Instagram and Twitter and other things and throwing in hashtag Inktober and scrolling through. There are a lot of different artists that do amazing things with ink that you can't even imagine sometimes. Learning this from Seth, I got to experience this last year for the first time and just see some of the things that he would see on there and throw up on his pages. They were all very, especially a lot of the different comic book ones, obviously, a lot of the nerd ones, the ones that we all know and love and amazing, like Bloody Spider-Man or something like that out there who did some kick-ass thing and he's running away or something that they decided to throw in there. But it's a fun thing to see all the different artists that are out there and the different things that are available this time of year, because they're all pushing themselves and challenging themselves to at least get some good pieces of work on sites.
And that's what really all these things I think are really about, is they're about creating opportunities for the artists to actually, not just challenge themselves on what they're going to do, but also give themselves, the opportunity, almost like the excuse if they need it, to spend time doing art, whether it be to themselves or to friends or to others, who be like, hey, it's Inktober, man, I got to do this.
For sure.
So I think that's great. I didn't know about that. I was wondering if that's what it was once you mentioned it. So.
For sure. And also, not to mention, the guy that started it, Jake Parker, he himself is someone that is such a good teacher. He himself is a practicing artist, but he's got a lot of things on the internet, a lot of books that are kind of how-tos or teach you how to draw certain ways or draw certain things and whatnot. But I don't know, he just seems to be one of those guys that really inspires other artists to be the best they can be. And another cool little thing that he does is he really inspires people to do art drops and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And he kind of go like, hey, I'm in this certain part of the city, or take a picture of himself or whatever, and like, hey, I'm doing this art drop.
Now, that's the beauty of social media in today's world. You're able to, artists and authors are able to announce essentially any place that they're at. They're saying, hey, I'm leaving art here, I'm leaving signed copies here, or whatever. Brandon Sanderson is very popular for doing that, where as he's going through airports, he'll walk into the airport, bookstore or one of them, and he'll sign books, and then the first thing he tweets is, Atlanta, Red Terminal, or whatever, the bookstore in there has got 2 signed copies, and 2 of them have these little pop-up. That's how you give out slack. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Tell people to give you money for it, and then wait for them to give you money to create the thing. You create it ahead of time, you have it ready, and then put it out there. Someone those are really excited. A work of art, a series, anything, a person, if you write it really, really quickly.
I think, it's kind of funny. It's not just those, if they see their favorites, awesome, because that would be really, really cool. Think about those times when they find their first time they read a Brandon Sanderson, or the very first time they even heard of the guy, or, Graham Austin King, I'm going to throw his name out there, or even Michael King, or something like that. They open it up, it's the first time that they listen to this book. They open it up, not only is it signed and dated like that day, but it drops out, the little cool, it embeds in you a positive experience when you just have to be a fan. And that's how you do it. That's the reason why Brandon Sanderson has the following he does. Because he will do just about anything for a fan. And I'm talking, he'll stay up for 4 at UConn this spring, and he was up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, playing Magic the Gathering with the guys that, what they're going to go home and say is, I played Magic the Gathering and beat him with my webcam. Sorry, by the way, you lost big time, Brandon, on that game. I watched it. It was horrible. You just got destroyed.
Let's just call him out.
Well, yeah, we got to do that because there's a hope that he might actually listen to it and talk to me again. Anyway, I think that's where you gain your popularity. That's where you gain your audience. That's where you find your people. It's being out there walking around, interacting with people. I think one of the problems with social media is while it makes the world smaller, it also pushes us further apart from one another. And how you win fans is by being present to them and engaging with them, not sitting behind a wall and just doing Kickstarters and doing that kind of thing. You interact with your fans directly. That's what I think.
You listen to what they have to say. You hear those little stories as they unfold. You sit out there and watch your fan base grow. That fan base is much more responsive to your stories if you actually respond to them overall.
Right. I guess the cool thing about things like Inktober and whatnot is the opportunity to be able to interact directly with new fans, with people that haven't seen you before, just because they're pumping out more work. So I think that's great stuff. I'll be really interested to see what you come up with over the next month. I know that you're working on a piece right now.
Well, I actually finished it. I'm setting up for this.
Right on. All right, Stephen. So, okay, East-West.
East-West.
That's how you say it. Okay.
Yes, it is a story that I went to the Great Library of Seth Roswell Penn, and I scanned the pages and the spines that were facing me.
That has a completely different context if you're female.
If you are female, the Great Library of Seth Roswell Penn is a completely different thing.
I mean, I do have the Kama Sutra in there.
It is right there on the shelf. You can just pull it off. The first spine that just jumps out at me is East of West, which Seth himself had been trying to get me to read for an awful long time, as well as one other friend of ours, Austin Dooley. And
they both have mentioned it to me as well.
Oh yeah, they're avid fans of this, and I actually sat down and read them all. Coming out very soon. I've seen it.
Right.
I'm excited for it, and I have to say that was probably my most well spent 5 hours of my life.
Just use 1/250, I believe.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. It's a decent amount of reading. It took me a little longer than it should have overall, starting from the beginning to get what I've read so far, I couldn't stop reading this entire time. It was amazing. It's essentially a story of the apocalypse. The bringing of it in a different way than what you'd expect. It starts out with just 3 or 4 horsemen coming out as children and realizing that one of them is not, and and it unravels this entire world where everything past the Civil War worked out completely different. The United States was broken up into 7 different regions. Everything throughout the world was for the apocalypse. These people who were in charge of the heads of everything. So it's an amazing story that's told in some great work. This was written by Jonathan Hickman. And
He's a fantastic writer.
he's great. He's had some great stories. This was obviously one of them. This is of course published by Image Comics. I haven't had anything to talk about since I started reading any of their products. Honestly. That includes Saga Creature.
I mean, they've been pumping out a lot of really quality works.
Well, it's not just Saga. Like they're fun. They've been around for a while, and seeing that they pump out something like this, it feels really, really fresh, showing me that from a perspective of what they're looking at, starting with Saga and this new comic that I'm going to read now, is just that they keep on being bitten themselves now.
Right.
And that's
they do a lot of good different things there in Image Comics, and also the artwork that's it's fantastic. I love a lot of the things he as we've said before, and there's plenty of that in this books, all over the place, because it's bringing on the different events that unfold, as the different horsemen that wore damage.
right.
I'll let you get out there. There's going to be plenty of that everywhere, and he just does a fantastic job with all of it. And the story and the characters are fantastic. There's a law enforcement, the Texas Rangers, that are in there, and they are a group of Texas Rangers who were appalled by the way judges were treating criminals that were being brought in.
Okay.
And they decided to take the law into their own hands.
They come from Texas Republic.
7 nations.
Okay. So is it set is it like an alternative Earth setting?
It's like an alternative Earth. It's like a little bit more advanced things have taken off technology-wise. A lot of these some of them are very old Southern Republican men. Like that's the way they act, because they're in the Texas or the Southern Territories.
Okay, but what I'm saying is this actually supposed to be taking place on Earth? Is this an alternate timeline?
It's an alternate timeline. It's after the Civil War.
Oh, okay.
The end of the Civil War was actually a conflict.
Oh, okay.
And everybody thought it was a divine providence. The end of times was coming, so they all stopped fighting. And the message was repeated. And the message is something that's just repeated over and over in this overall arc. The bringing of the apocalypse, and what controls the story is how the message is interpreted as the story moves along.
So it's like the setting, for example, is that at the end of the Civil War, it ended because it ended because this comet went through the Earth, and from that point forward, history deviated. That sounds really cool. I'm looking forward to this a lot. That's not how you do it, Seth. That's not how you drop the mic.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning.
Okay. The East of West sounds absolutely fabulous. Well, you missed your boat on that. I mean, or tried to. Overshot, you said that. Yeah. So, that's right, only here where you get subtle Cosby jokes that aren't very subtle. at some point we mess up. I'm trying to think that probably we have already messed up. We've already had that moment, so I don't think that necessarily. Right.
We'll mess up the one.
Yes, every other time it's a learning experience, right, guys?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, this took us 2 hours to try to get this podcast to even start working, so we're really experienced here. But I guess I guess we can just kind of end this a little bit. Well, kind of what we want to do at the end is we give each guy a few moments to just be able to ruminate about something. It could be something witty, it could be something that doesn't have to be at all. It could be just a recommendation or thought. I'm going to start. One of the things I think that's really, really exciting that's happening that was announced today was In the Name of the Wind, the King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Lucas was picked up for a movie development deal coinciding with a TV series. And the really cool thing about it is it's being done by Lionsgate. So Lionsgate's going to release a TV series that coincides with the King Killer Chronicle. And I'm really excited about this. Not only is it one of my favorite books that's out there, and excellent writer, excellent guy overall, is that it's another high-quality series that television movie studios are picking up in an attempt to adapt, especially in fantasy. I think that we're seeing that the trend is going to be like that for a while. I think that fantasy is going to be the Westerns in the 50s and 60s over the next 20 years. And, where it just becomes the predominant, TV show and movie archetype that's out there. So that's my thought. Congratulations, Patrick. Well deserved. Looking forward to see what it
I guess, I want to throw back to Inktober, to anyone that's out there, just encourage you to look it up if you're interested in just looking at it, promoting it, getting involved, just look it up, see what it's all about. Also, Flash starts in 5 days, so that's really cool.
Flash. Okay. I'm excited.
Season 2, baby.
Yeah,
That's right.
And I gotta tell you, I had to binge watch the first season because we were telling me from the beginning it was great. So of course, I'm too busy to really sit down and watch it on a week-by-week basis. So I decided, my MO is I wait till the first season's over, I binge watch it, or wait till the whole freaking thing's over and then binge watch it.
From the beginning.
Right.
What's it worth?
Right, exactly. So I'm really excited about that as well. I'm looking forward to when all season is done and I can actually sit down and watch it one sitting. That's how it is.
You're gonna flash through the flash.
All right. So Steven, last thought.
I'm not too profound today, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna come up with better things in the future. But for right now, I'm just gonna leave you all with a little fact, and that's that if they didn't get diseases or get pulled out of the ocean and eaten by you guys, lobsters would live forever.
Lobsters would live forever, unless, of course, Crab Shack.
Thanks, Red Lobster.
Right, and Crab Shack.
And Joe's Crab Shack, and any other lobster-eating fools out there.
Right, they would live forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Do they just keep growing though?
The cells can just perfectly regenerate themselves. They have the capability of it. It makes you wonder why there wasn't a lobster man in Spider-Man instead of like a lizard man, because it just make them live forever. Who cares about the arm?
Food for thought.
Food for thought that Lizard Man could have been Lobster Man.
Way better character.
And way better character, and we would
If
just
there's anything that you can take away.
Right, it would be that. Marvel will make a movie out of it. Lobster Man. It would do 300 million worldwide, and will.
I'm not gonna lie. I would watch that.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. This is the Karmic Nerd Podcast. I'm James Drake.
Seth Penn.
I'm Steven.
And we welcome you back next week. Talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.